Now let's turn to another issue of the day. I think that famous phrase, "a week is a long time in politics," really does need updating. At the moment, it feels like every hour is a long time in politics. The rollercoaster fortunes of this Prime Minister have felt in entirely different places at any moment. On Monday, he was safe this week. By Tuesday, he looked like a goner. By Wednesday afternoon, he was a whole load safer. And today, his number 10 operation looks under threat, although his personal position might just about survive. The twists and turns of this tale in the space of hours and days will fill many future books. Yet, a consensus appears to be developing around saving grace, one moment that might have turned the tide. A deus ex machina that halted the letters and reunited the Tory party. His name is Christian Wakefield. Yes, Labour's announcement of this defection was a theatrical masterstroke, one that upended the day, but also one that potentially backfired. Nothing united the Parliamentary Conservative Party behind Boris Johnson quite like it. The sudden realisation who the real enemy was, where the real threat lay. This was a crystallising moment in the eyes of some potential rebels. The realisation that they had become a party tearing chunks out of itself over drinks in a garden. As one MP told me yesterday, it seemed as if the Tories took a step back and asked themselves, what are we doing? Potentially, Boris has a lot to thank Mr Wakeford for. One less letter, after all, a greater sense of party unity. And a by-election dodged, of course, as Labour decide to take the cue from the democracy dodgers at Change UK, rather than the real Democrats like Douglas Carswell and Mark Reckless, who both resigned their seats when defecting to win them anew for their new party. It's a sad moment for our politics that the noble tradition initiated by those Cameron-era defectors has been thoroughly put to bed just as it was beginning. A sad moment for our politics, perhaps, but a short-term relief for Boris, as no doubt Bury South would swing deeply red, judging by the current state of the national polls. Not that mid-term by-elections have ever been particularly predictive of general election outcomes, especially general election outcomes that are the best part of 3 years away. Why is it that Labour is avoiding this free hit? Potentially long-term thinking, re-establishing the tradition of calling a by-election upon defection as a rule would potentially put off any further defectors. Not that many further defectors seem all that likely. I have to say that last night I spoke to a number of Tory MPs, some of whom were genuinely shaken by the loss of their colleague. Some close to Wakeford spent Monday evening drinking with him in what we now know was the same day, mere hours after Wakeford secretly met with Keir Starmer. It was the best-kept secret in Westminster, and since its explosive revelation, it has shocked, saddened and strengthened the resolve of those Tories who had seen themselves as close to their former party colleague. If we've seen that rollercoaster of fortunes and emotions in just over one day, heaven knows what next week has in store.